It's always helpful to bring awareness down into the pelvis, legs, and feet. Certainly as we begin here, but in general, to counteract the tendency for energy to be up in the mind space. And the awareness can slide down during the exhale. And we can begin to take in the sensations that we're noticing in our feet, in our legs, in our hips, in our tailbone and sits bones. And there's something about the unmoving ground beneath us that helps to attune us to a quietness inside, in the body, the nervous system, the mind. So recently we've had a change of seasons here with the fall equinox happening on Monday. And so I thought we would take some time together to attune to the season of the fall. We are always being influenced by nature, by the environment around us. We have been living through the seasons our entire lives, but humanity has been cycling through seasons from the beginning of time. And because we are part of nature, we are impacted by the seasons, and we are actually also informed about our own nature, about our own cycles, about the necessity of both activity and quiet, of light and dark within our being, within our lives. And rather than speak about what others have said about the fall season and how it might impact us, what it might lead us to discover within ourselves, how it might entrain us into rhythms that are more sympathetic with what is actually needed at this time of the year. I would like us to discover that for ourselves. Because even if we're not aware of it, our body is feeling nature. Our body is feeling the change that's happening during this particular shift in seasons. As the daylight gets shorter and the nights get longer. And so I'd like you to call to mind for a recent time that you were in nature, or maybe even you have a window just beside you and you can look outside to kind of help to attune you with what's happening out there in the natural world. So opening the lens of our awareness to include the nature around us. And even if we live, in a city with not a lot of nature around, there are still going to be trees and flowers here and there. And hopefully we all get the opportunity from time to time to walk through a ravine or a park. And perhaps this is an encouragement to really just open to what it is that nature is transmitting to us and how it is that we can align with that for our own benefit. Everything needs cycles of light and dark, of rest and activity, of creation and of integration. So as you call to mind this recent time that you might have been in nature, just kind of put yourself there in your mind's eye. And maybe we can engage the senses here. So with the eyes closed, and as we inhale and exhale, perhaps notice the smell around you, and particularly with these times of rain here in southern Ontario. There's a distinct smell coming up from the earth as well as from the decaying material. And also the plants that tend to be in bloom at this time of the year. So see if there's some kind of a memory. Don't try to go there with your mind, because the body does have a memory for these things. And allow yourself to take in those fragrances, those smells that are coming in to you as energies and as an experience through the nose. And again, see if you can let the mind just back off here and just let yourself be informed without any efforts to understand or to categorize. That we want to almost like bypass the mind and just let the sense of smell speak to us directly. And how does that feel as you take that in? The word ancient is coming to mind here. We've been taking in these smells. Our ancestors have been taking in these smells. All of creation have been taking in similar smells from the beginning of time. And let's switch to our sense of hearing. What sounds are you hearing at this time of the year? There's a distinct difference in the sounds that we hear in the spring, in the summer, the fall, and in the winter. So what sounds, what birds maybe are more active? What birds seem to be lacking? You might have been here in the summer, but you're not hearing them anymore. Maybe there's a little bit more silence in nature. Maybe you hear the sound of the wind or the sound of the rain. So being in that spot in nature and just opening the sense of hearing. And can you let it in without naming, but just as an energy, as a vibration? Is a symphony to be enjoyed, to be absorbed, to be touched by. Great, and let's shift our awareness to the sense of touch. Just noticing perhaps your exposed skin in this spot in nature, and perhaps the sensation of wind on your skin and the temperature of that wind, the moisture in it, and also possibly the sun and how that might feel different than sun in the summertime. Just allowing yourself to take that in again without any contribution from the mind, but as an experience to be enjoyed fresh with a beginner's mind, as though for the first time. Bypassing the mind's need to oftentimes label and explain. And just notice how that shifts your experience when you're in nature and you let the mind kind of sit back and you just experience it directly, how the sense of connection and wonder and awe is enhanced. So we're in our sense of touch, sun and wind. Maybe you've been out in the rain and you can feel the raindrops falling on your head or your skin. And how simple and beautiful that communion with raw nature is. How fulfilling. And now in your mind's eye, you can also open your eyes, even though you might keep them closed in meditation, and allow yourself to take in the nature around you through the sense of sight, the colors, the light, the dying leaves, the flowers that are beginning to fade. Notice if that might activate some feelings, some emotions. Sometimes we can feel a kind of a sadness, just as most human beings don't welcome death very easily. The fall is a time of a lot of death, really, of the plant world. And of course, we know that it's a death that will eventually bring new life in the spring. And so we accept that, but there can still be certain feelings that are generated in the autumn. And I think those are important to acknowledge. They're really just activating feelings that already live here, or challenges that we have around the cycles of life, around life and death, and beginnings and endings, light and dark. And so if you notice any resistance in your body, any sadness, allow that to be here as well. Nature brings us back to our wholeness, and our wholeness includes the whole spectrum of emotions. And so as we attune deeply to the season of fall, it actually helps to wash out, wash through, bring to the surface anything that we're ready to let go of that will help us to connect more deeply and to take in the benefits of this particular season and the rhythm that it brings us into. A little bit more introspective, usually a gathering of the bounty that came in the previous months, an enjoying of that, and a preparation for the deep quiet of winter. So, in other words, letting this season inform us, attuning to it, attuning to it. I also want to mention that each season, as we've lived through a season of fall many times, right? And if in past fall seasons, certain things occurred for you, it could be things that were very pleasant and exciting, and it could also be things that were challenging. The actual season itself, the change of light, and all of the other reminders that come to us through our senses may activate undigested, unintegrated energies and emotions. And that's what the season is meant to do. It's meant to help us to relieve ourselves of any burdens that we might be carrying. So allow the season to do that. It takes time, it takes quietness, it takes a willingness to let go of what we usually are preoccupied with. But certainly when we do spend time in nature, whether we're just sitting or walking or even driving, we can allow ourselves to attune, which is to open our bodies without the overlay of the mind to that which nature is offering us through her cycles. And now I invite you to bring your hand to your heart, maybe a couple of fingers or to the whole hand, whatever feels good for you, just to help you to center in the heart. And to notice how this guided journey around attuning to fall, how it has landed in the heart. I'm noticing a warmth and a joy and a reconnection that feels good. And you may be noticing the same or not. Please trust your experience. But I do believe that in time, a deeper connection with nature and her cycles and all of the transmissions that she is sharing with us do lead to a softening and an opening of the heart, to a letting go of those artificial boundaries that we have created, to opening our being and our heart to a greater connection with ourselves, but also with all of nature and with each other. So you're welcome to leave your hand there or to let it go with your attention in the heart center. And perhaps in your mind's eye, continue to imagine yourself in nature in this beautiful fall season, opening to the bounty that is there for you and allowing yourself to receive.